I grew up was pretty boring, so you're always looking for stuff to do. And I was just thinking about some of the horrible shit we did to one another's cars and stuff. Like one time, the golf course I played at in high school, this happened when I was in 8th grade, would flood very often. And one day, me and another guy, Kerry, found a fish, a dead fish sitting on the tee box. Now, another guy we're playing with, Mike, wasn't looking. Kerry put the fish into an old Gatorade bottle and put it in his bag. And we started making fish puns and jokes, but he didn't notice, and we kind of forgot about it. And for a while, Kerry told me, he said, I'd get in the car with him. I'd be like, man, what's that smell? Oh, there's something up with the electrical stuff, and it's just burning. He said, that's the smell. He said, it was awkward to keep from laughing because I knew what the smell was. It was the dead fish we put in his bag. And that bag stayed in his car for like 3 weeks, and that smell stayed. And then we had a match kind of out of town, and they had to drive up there, and they rode with the coach, which was Kerry's dad, and they pull up to the golf course, and they've got all 4 windows down. Everybody's got their head stuck out the window, and he's like, who put the damn fish in his golf bag? He said, we barely even got here. We even had to stop so such and such could throw up. So we finally figured out the fish was in the bag after about 3 weeks. Another thing we did was roll yards. A lot of people did it. It's usually a Halloween thing, but for us, I think the general rule was once high school football started, which I guess is next week, anybody's house is fair game. And most weekends we were out patrolling for yards to roll. And keep in mind, you had to buy decent toilet paper. Like, you could not roll somebody's yard with the generic brand toilet paper. It just didn't work. It doesn't work for its intended purpose, much less its purpose of throwing in trees. And when we were rolling someone's yard, we would do crazy stuff. We'd climb over the roof just to make sure we got full coverage. We'd climb trees. We'd do stuff you wouldn't even. It was incredibly stupid to do, but we did it anyway. And one guy in particular did not handle having his yard rolled very well, and we kind of avoided him. Because one time we threw just a roll into his driveway as a joke, and he came running out, and he was ready to whoop somebody's ass. Because one time a bunch of girls rolled his yard, and he came running out, and the girl drove a VW Bug, and he proceeded just to put a bunch of dents in it. I think he tried to get in the car. He was so angry. So we kind of steered away from it. But one of our favorite targets was my buddy Charles. We would roll his yard, and he would get mad too, and he would get in his car and try to find us. And he would drive around just looking for us, because he wanted to fight somebody too over his yard getting rolled. And he would get so mad. But it was a lot of fun. Like after football games, we would be out rolling yards. And one time we rolled a guy's yard, and he came running up, yelling at us to get out. And the guy we were with, actually Charles's brother, form tackles him to the ground. I thought that was great. The other thing we do was plastic wrap people's cars. If we knew somebody had somewhere to go the next day, we would plastic wrap their car. And that just consists of going around the car with saran wrap. And if you really got the nerve, you slide under it. You have it get everywhere. Because if we knew somebody was going on a trip to visit a college or just going somewhere, going to grandma's house, we'd make sure they had a nice gift of plastic wrap. And then you got into the car paint. The ones like you ride on, you see them, hey, just married. The car paint. My car had car paint on it so many times. It said, "I love boys," which you don't. But in retrospect, it was pretty funny. But that shit would not come off for nothing. I tried everything. I went to a car wash. Finally, I had to use WD-40 to get it off. And of course, I got them back. I wrote, "I love dick" on their car. Because, justice is served. And then some girls one time took it a step further on our cars. They put KY jelly on the door handles. So all 4 of my door handles on my car had that on there. And that stuff, like the car paint, does not come off. Will not come off. And every time it rains, it stays. Like it took me several, I'd say days, maybe even a couple weeks to get that stuff off, because it would not come off for anything. And I got them back too, but that's another story. And I'm trying to think of some of the other stuff. We would antique road signs. That was fun. I don't know if you've ever been antiquing. When you antique a road sign, you just throw flour at it. And it's really harmless because it comes off, but it's just funny. We'd go through the neighborhoods of rival schools and antique road signs. We're also not beyond putting, if they were a big time Republican, we'd put Democratic Party member stickers on their car, and vice versa. If they're a big Democrat, they'd put a George Bush sticker on their car. And I egged some people's cars one time. That wasn't one of my better ideas. That doesn't go over so well. We put chocolate syrup and whipped cream on some windshields, which is also not a good idea, because when that sticks, you can't get it off the windshield. So the people had to drive like Ace Ventura for a while. But rolling yards, we even did it, I don't know, about 10 years ago, when we were way too old to do it, and it was the middle of summer, and we bought the cheapest toilet paper, and it was just, it wasn't a good idea. And then another time, this one was pretty bad. We knew some of my buddies, they were older. One of their teachers was going to be out of town. So we went and rolled his house. And we got it pretty good, but somebody decided they wanted to tie a hose around his truck, which I didn't quite understand. And we did it, and when the hose came off, the hose had scratched all the way around the truck. All the way around. And then another guy I don't know how this happened. He had a screen door, and he was throwing like little specks of toilet paper at it. Well, turns out that cracked the screen door. So they had to tell him, yeah, we know who did that. And we recorded it too, so it was awesome. Those are just some good memories of being kind of horrible vandals.